What is going on, Ape Nation? So since that GameStop report came out from the SEC, we haven't heard much from Gary Gensler. I said this in the last video that I made about Gary Gensler and this SEC report, which only happened one time, which means we've only heard from him one time. This is the second time. So now we have two things that Gary Gensler said after this SEC report actually came out. And for me, there's one theme that just kind of stands out, one common theme, and that is dark pools and PFOF. They keep, just bringing those two up, or Gary Gensler, the SEC, they keep talking about those two things, and I'm kind of wondering, are they hinting that the ban is coming soon? Are they going to go after that? I know there's been talks about a ban by Gary Gensler in the past in the SEC, but now that, things have come to light, they keep mentioning these things over and over and over, or at least in two of the two conversations that we've seen from him since the dadgum report came out. So I want you guys to watch this clip, the second part of the clip, and this clip is extremely short. The second part of the clip kind of relates to DWAC. Gensler was asked specifically about DWAC because it's a SPAC, and it was compared to what we saw in January with the SPAC madness going on. And as we all know, or if you've been paying attention, you should know that the SPAC problem is something that Gary Gensler testified about to Congress about a month ago. So what's all fixing to happen in the market? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And we are going to get right into this clip, but before we do, please go ahead and smash that like button so the YouTube algorithm shares this with as many apes as possible. And for the love of God, if you're not subscribed yet, I'm not sure what in the heck you're waiting for. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe because I drop videos just like this every single day, multiple times per day.
Like a lifetime since then. But one other thing that you dealt with was the GameStop situation that happened in January, but the SEC just released that over 40-page report last week. Now, there were no specific policy recommendations after that report. So I guess, can you just walk us through what might be the next steps for all these brokerages, wholesale market makers, clearinghouses, investors that are walking away from the events of January, wondering what might the SEC do next?
So we have a number of projects, some of those highlighted in the report. There was a page or two at the end called additional considerations. One is related to equity market structure itself. Are we today in the 2020s appropriate using technology of the 2020s to look out for regular investors? And nearly half of the market, the stock market this is, doesn't trade on lit, transparent exchanges, but in dark pools or off exchange. And instead of having orders compete, one by one compete so that the investing public, the retail public gets the best price, or what's called best execution, right now a lot of this is flowing into the dark pools to the wholesalers through something called payment for order flow. Secondly is a bit of the plumbing. I know it's not as exciting for your listeners, but it has to do with the clearing and settlement cycles and shortening those so there's less risk. In the January events, people had been restricted from trading. The third thing is something called digital engagement practices, or what sometimes colloquially is part of that is called gamification. New digital analytics, new algorithms that are maybe promoting more trading rather than investing, or promoting activity that is good for the applications, but not good for the individuals. So these are some of the projects we're working on.
Chair Gensler, do you think that we're going to see more episodes like what we saw in late January? What was interesting was it's not quite to that extent, but social media was driving massive volatility into a SPAC last week that was tied to former President Trump, in addition to some other adjacent penny stocks. Do you think that this is something we should just expect to see every now and then?
Look, the retail public is more engaged in the market today than 10 and 20 years ago. And as retail working families investing directly in the market for their future can be a good thing. That could be good to say for retirement and the inevitable bumps along the road. We at the SEC still need to look at and protect the public against any bad actors. And so that's our role. the retail being part of the mix and a growing part of the mix can be good as long as there's a real cop on the beat looking at the rules in place.